Everyone, it's Chris Brown, and welcome back to the Chris Cave. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day out, so I'm going to finish this and go outside and enjoy nature. But for right now, what are we going to be talking about on this Fast Forward episode? I'm going to ask the question, does America need another EV manufacturer? I'm going to let you decide that answer, but here we go. We're talking about Slate, a new EV truck manufacturer, a small, compact pickup truck. I went to the Slate reveal in Long Beach, California, and on stage, Slate CEO Chris Barman said the definition of what's affordable is broken. She's certainly right about that. The truth is that the average new vehicle MSRP in the U.S. is $48,000. So there is clearly a market of buyers waiting for reliable, cheap mobility on four wheels. So federal incentives may not be around for much longer, but if they are, the Slate truck, the base Slate truck, will cost under $20,000. If we're not going to put in the federal incentives, that's about $27,000. Is Slate the truck to meet the moment for both consumers and fleets? We'll find out, but let's be clear, the independent electric automotive companies that have failed before them. We can look at Lordstown Motors, Fisker, Canoo, Lion Electric, Nikola, Arrival. Does anyone remember Coda? Probably not, but I still have swag from each of them. Well, listen, here we go again. I have to say, I don't even know if I trust myself because I've been a big fan of all those companies and, now, forgive me if the coverage this time isn't as breathless, right? But how will Slate succeed where others have failed? So we could call the Slate truck radically simple, okay? It's American-made. It's got one configuration, significantly fewer components. It's got a basic interior, analog controls, roll-up windows, no paint, okay? It's one color, no options or trim levels, and no infotainment. Basically, you use your phone. Okay, so hey, nothing breaks, right? No recalls in the infotainment system. And it's one price. But instead of options, it's really about DIY accessorizing. So you can put the roof rails on, the light covers, pre-cut vinyl wrap, okay? So think about wrapping a truck for Coachella Music Festival, and then 2 weeks later, you swap that out for new graphics for Stagecoach. And you can turn the truck into an SUV. I saw Slate do the conversion twice within an hour. So, hey, the benefits. A truck with fewer parts will be easier to repair, but growing a service network commensurate with sales, that's the bane of any independent automaker, right? You've got to be able to service those vehicles on a moment's notice. And if you're stranding a fleet driver for even 2 days, that won't cut it. So I'm hoping that Slate's going to consider a service loaner program to keep fleets on the road. All right, so Slate's battery, the base battery anyway, 52.7 kilowatts of usable energy. That produces a top range of 150 miles. Certainly, if you accessorize with any of the DIY components, and cargo's going to add any weight, so 150 miles becomes 110 miles in the wrong conditions pretty quickly. Hey, listen, that's going to exclude a segment of buyers. But I guess we just have to understand that Slate is not one size fits all. It aims for predictable use cases, talking small business owners, contractors, delivery services, and municipal fleets. This is where range anxiety is minimal, but TCO is critical. And let's think about that price of $27,000. So who is Slate's biggest competitor, right? It's not the F-150 Lightning or the Chevy Silverado EV. It's really, I think it's going to be the Chevy Equinox EV. That's got a $33,000 base price. It's got tons of utility, and it's got General Motors backing and serviceability. Listen, the Slate truck is obviously cheaper to start, and upgrading to the larger battery with a 240-mile range, that's going to bring it into the price of Equinox's. Yet it's still going to fall well short of Equinox's range of over 300 miles. Hey, but listen, Slate is not trying to be Equinox. It should be about low complexity, task-specific use, utility, and TCO, right? Over general purpose comfort. Here's the biggest caveat today. I have not driven the truck yet, nor has there been any coverage of the truck's performance. handicapping Slate's potential. This is perhaps the biggest if waiting to be resolved. Okay, but here's the thing. The startups that failed before Slate were in a different market. They were thrown gobs of venture capital with firms looking to exploit this new technology that promised to transform the world. Those were the times of peak inflated expectations. That's stage 2 in Gartner's hype cycle. But think about it. 4 years ago, the market just wasn't ready. The charging infrastructure wasn't in place. Everyone misread actual demand. And, there was a lot of self-inflicted mistakes and over-promises. And those startups were perpetually delayed in coming to market. The cash burn was never enough to keep the lights on. This market is a little different. I think we're in Gartner's stage 3, and that's the trough of disillusionment, or maybe we're coming out of that. But ironically, maybe this is the best time to start a new EV company. The stupid money is gone, along with the stupid players. Well, most of them anyway. Like I said, I think we're exiting the trough and entering stage 4, the slope of enlightenment. This is where use cases actually work based on TCO, and they're not dependent on incentives or regulations. And this is exactly Slate's value proposition. So, hey, yes, I'll root for another EV startup again. Of course, fleet operators don't have to root for anything. They just need the product to work. It's now up to Slate to come through for them. I'm Chris. I'm out. I'll see you next Fast Forward episode. Thanks.